Good morning, everybody. We are almost through the week. I am excited to start today with you. The month of June, we have been talking about streamlining processes. Oop, I got my double audio on. Hold on. Okay. We have been talking about streamlining processes to increase productivity. And I have been loving the questions that have been coming in. I don't think I'm going to have time to get to all of them today. So if I don't get to yours, I will send you a specific response back to however you submitted that question, just to make sure that I am hitting everybody. So, one of the things that I had a speaking engagement yesterday with a CPA firm association. Their national conference was being held here in Savannah, so it was a lot of fun to be able to attend and speak to their group. And one of the things that we talked about yesterday was how you can actually sometimes be more productive by doing less. And I know that sounds counterintuitive and it sounds backwards. But when we really take a look at how we're spending our time, more often than not, we are busy, we are not productive. And if we really want to see what that definition of productivity is for us, what does that look like? How do we know that we've been productive and we haven't just been spinning our wheels? Sometimes we can actually find that the solutions we need to accomplish what we need to do is a lot more simple than we thought. We are making our lives harder sometimes than they need to be. Not always, but definitely more often than we realize, right? So, June's topic is talking about how we can streamline processes to actually make us more productive. And in case you haven't read between the lines yet on that streamlining, that means you're doing less, hopefully working less hours, but definitely doing less tasks and less work. You're working smarter and not harder, right? Okay, so let's just go ahead and jump in to our questions. So I'm going to pull those up really quick. Okay, so the first person said, what about things that I can't streamline? What about things that I can't streamline? So that's a great question. There are absolutely going to be some tasks or some things that you need to accomplish that you're not going to be able to streamline. I just realized the sun came out. My desk is facing a window. So give me a second. Let me lower my blinds just a little bit so I don't quite look like I'm glowing that hard. I already know I'm white and pale as a ghost. Okay, better. So there are going to be some things that you may not be able to streamline, right? If you have a project that has multiple tasks that need to be done in succession in a particular way, maybe there's not a way that you're going to be able to streamline that particular task or process, right? However, I would say that if you have, let's say, a project, let's just keep going with that example, that is on your plate and this is something that you know is going to be a busy season for you, or something that's going to be taking up a whole lot of your time. What other things maybe could you streamline, right? So that as you go through that busy season, there's a little bit less of adding to the plate and a little bit more of maintaining the size that it already was before that project or before that busy season. And here's what I mean by that. I would encourage you to be creative. And I don't even just mean streamlining in your professional life, it may be your personal life as well, right? So if I'll use this because it's fresh on my mind from yesterday, but I had a few partners and accountants who came up and spoke to me after the talk yesterday. And of course, they just finished tax season. And I have never been an accountant. I have never lived through tax season like that. In fact, I am just so happy when I can turn my taxes over to my tax lady. God bless her, Jennifer. Love you. If you guys need a recommendation, I have a great one for you. But I'm happy to turn that over, but they are just on the tail end of that busy tax season, right? And we were just talking about how overwhelming that is. And the topic for yesterday's talk was really on burnout and exhaustion, right? Which is like super timely for them. And So we were talking about, well, like, okay, the house just went to just absolute chaos during that season, right? I'm in a busy season right now myself. I just hired three virtual assistants. I had intended to hire one, and I hired three. And so I usually cook dinner, like a homemade from scratch meal for my family. And I haven't done that in months because it's beyond my capacity at this time, right? So when you're having that project or that busy season, what can you streamline? Maybe it's hiring someone to come in and clean the house for a month or two, right? It doesn't have to be like a permanent commitment for the rest of your life, but maybe streamlining that and figuring out a way to work smarter, not harder when it comes to maintaining the home. Maybe you sign up for a meal prep delivery thing where they deliver it like HelloFresh or something. I've never used them personally, but I know people that have, and have that delivered to your house, right? Maybe it's as simple as saying, okay, for this season, this week, this month, this couple of months, cleaning the bathrooms and the kitchen is going to fall to someone else at the house, right? So those would be examples of like personal ways to streamline processes. With your workflow, though, right? A big project, busy season comes up. Maybe you can't streamline that project. What else can you streamline at work, though? Can you have auto response to emails? Maybe even put up an out of office just to like bide you time. Maybe you're not even like really, really out of the office, but like people are going to get a little blurb from you to know, like, hey, I'm in the height of working on a project. I'm not going to be as responsive to emails as I usually am. And maybe you set aside 30 minutes a day to go through your emails, find the ones that are the top priority, and respond to those, and the rest can wait. They can wait till the end of the week or the end of the month, right? Streamline your processes. There's always something that you could find that will make life a little bit smoother and a little bit easier for you, even if that particular project or that particular thing that you're working on isn't streamlinable. Is that a word? Okay, great question though. Thank you so much for submitting that one. Okay, next question. I already feel productive. That's amazing. A lot of us don't. And I feel like I accomplish a lot, but I do admit that I feel tired at the end of most days. Okay, cool. So productivity is coming at a cost of like probably being in high like go 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 mode all day long. I'm more of a go with the flow person. Okay. So streamlining sounds tedious and restrictive. Okay. So there's not an actual question on this, more of a reflective comment. But I love this. So streamlining processes does sound like very type A, very like I'm a planner, I'm a strategizer, right? Thing to happen. And my clients are a really big mix of go with the flow people and more like me, more organized type A. I really have both. And full transparency, when I started this work, go with the flow people freaked me out. I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to help them because every suggestion I have is like, fit it in this box, do it specifically this way. But luckily, I am surrounded by a lot of creatives and have come to realize that I'm a pretty big creative myself, even though I didn't realize it. And there is a way that you can streamline, even if you are go with the flow creative who doesn't want to feel boxed in or feel restricted in your processes. So I just want to like pause for a second and validate for those of you that are go with the flow people. You are just as productive as the rest of us. We might not understand your process. We might not know how you get from point A to point B and how you actually make it happen, but somehow you do. It looks very different than how we do it, but you still are absolutely just as productive as we are. So I just want to toss that out there. If you're a type A who's listening or watching this replay and you're feeling judgy, you can stop being judgy. I have seen firsthand just how productive our go with the flow people are. So, for my go with the flowers, who don't want to be boxed into a structure, right? Just because you're streamlining doesn't mean that you are creating walls around you on how you have to execute your tasks or your projects or your to-do list, right? And this will look different for you. One way that this can manifest for you, and there are several different ways, but one way is by being a little self-reflective on how you work, how you operate. Um, our go with the flow creatives all operate very differently. Some of them don't even want to think about what they have to do in a day. They want to wake up and they want to intuit what needs to be done today. And I think that's amazing that you trust yourself so much to do that. I don't have that much trust in myself. I got to have a plan. You guys should see my calendar. It is a hot mess and it is also super crazy color coded. I'm just going to see if I can show you. Um, Here is my calendar. This is my calendar. And do you see how much purple this is? This is all family oriented things. And all of those are in purple and the rest is work. But there's a lot, right? But I plan it out. I have it color coordinated. But a lot of our creatives just intuit their day. They don't have any type of plan whatsoever. Other creatives may feel like I kind of know that I want to be working on this project, this art piece, this retreat, this offering, whatever that may be. And there are other options as well, right? So the first thing that I would encourage you to do is to pay attention to your day. Pay attention to your gut because you're going to be gut led anyways. Most of your decisions are going to come from your intuition and come from your feelings. So start there. And as you go through your day, pay attention to what causes you stress. Is it uh, business tasks that cause you stress? Do you not want to post on social media because it feels like you have to instead of you want to? Is it responding to emails from potential clients, which is like stressful and you get in your head and so you put it off? Is it maybe orders? If you are an artist and you are producing an art product that you sell, is it those new orders and now you know you're not done with this one yet because you haven't felt what it needs to be in its fruition. So you can't even start to think about this one, but you also want to make the money and you don't want to lose that income or that client. Now you're pressured. Where are those points of stress, discomfort, burden, heaviness? Where are those things for you? Pay attention to that. That's going to be really important for you. And then I would encourage you after a day or a week of paying attention to that, that's the place where you can find opportunities to streamline. And that can look however you want it to look, whatever fits your model best. But for example, let's say it's new orders that are coming in. Maybe you can have a particular email address that you can use just for funneling orders. So when you feel like you're ready to look at the new orders, you can sit down and take care of that when it's right for you. Maybe you have an auto reply on that inbox because you know everything that you're getting there are orders and you have an auto reply. I'm currently working on a big commission and my next open date for new work will be July 1st. I will respond to you sometime around that. And so people know that they've heard you, they've got an expected-ish date to hear from you and to get a response specifically to their request. And you don't have to worry about it. When it comes to July 1st and you expect to be done with that work, you can start thinking about that thing, right? Streamline that part of your business. If it's social media, whenever you feel inspired, put all of that stuff, create all of those things for your social, put it in a folder. And when you feel ready to sit down and do it, schedule those posts out. That's when you're inspired to do it. Schedule them. There's nothing wrong with scheduling them through Meta for Facebook or Instagram. You could schedule on LinkedIn. You can schedule it to go out, and now it's on autopilot. You don't have to think about it, but you could do it when you are inspired to do so because you are a go with the flow person, right? You can also look at hiring someone to help with this, right? I have parts of my business that I despise. I despise. I'll be really honest. If you are someone who has talked to me about working with me and you didn't immediately sign up to work with me or immediately schedule a clarity call with me, I am absolutely not responding to you right now. Partly because I'm busy, but partly because I hate that part of my job so much. If you're watching this, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. Just know that I struggle with this so hard because I'm in my head about it. And I'm absolutely thinking like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna think I'm salesy or they're gonna think I'm pushy, and I don't wanna come across that way," even though, like, all I think about is how much fun it would be to work with you. And I know every time I send an email asking if you're ready to set up that call, that's the heart space I'm coming from, but I struggle with it. So I'm streamlining that, and I am gonna create a flow so that I can just automate that process as much as possible and my potential clients will know that I love them from the bottom of my heart, whether or not they actually want to move forward and hire me, because that's the God's honest truth, right? So those spaces of discomfort, you can find someone who can help you with it or a process that can help you with it. So for my creatives, streamlining is absolutely not going to box you in. It's not going to be restrictive or tedious. And I would encourage you, blah, blah, blah. I would encourage you to pay attention to those spaces so you can find opportunity, which is really what it is an opportunity to take something off your plate and make you feel better instead of put you in a box. Okay. All right. Next question. Oh, I like this one. How do I streamline when random things come up every day? Oh, God. Okay. Super, super, super powerful question there because there's several different layers that we can talk about when it comes to this. Yeah, first off, I don't think there's a single business day that goes by where there isn't something random that comes up, right? I started work early this morning and I got an email that an article that was written about me is ready to go live. And I'm like, dang, I already knew what I was going to be posting on social for the next few weeks. I'm like, do I post it now? Do I post it later? I went to go post it now and it was going to post oddly. The link preview wasn't showing any images. It was just showing a weird link box. So I spent like 20 minutes trying to get it to show a link preview. I don't know. Anyways, not how I planned on spending the time when I logged on this morning, right? Like, I feel you. Especially as a business owner or a manager, if you have a team, 1000% you're going to have random things that come up every single day. So there are two different ways that you can handle this. One of them is one of my favorite strategies when it comes to time blocking and scheduling. Not enough coffee this morning. When it comes to time blocking and scheduling, one strategy that you will hear me talk about all the dang time is planning for random crap. And if this weren't on a live, I would be using a different word. Plan for random stuff, right? And it sounds weird, but if you block 2 hours a week is what I recommend. I find that's pretty effective. You don't really need more than that unless it's a busy season. If you're doing a launch or something like that, 2 hours a week, and things get fit into that, right? A random person reaches out. There's a random fire on your website that needs to be fixed. There is a random client issue where they want you to respond to something that's not an emergency. Okay, emergencies are an exception to this, obviously. They may even be personal. Your kid has a project that's due. Your printer broke and you need to reach out to the help desk. Whatever, right? They fit into the random crap time and you have pre-planned this time in your week. It may be the same every week. It may be different every week, depending on what you have going on. You can see on my schedule because I do time block and pre-schedule so much stuff. Let me see if I can find one. Yeah, so these two little orange boxes here, this little, it got too bright, that little purple box in between, that is a box for, I just write on there, block for capacity. That's how I have it written out on my schedule, right? If I see that I'm going to have a million people, like clients in a particular day, meetings, things that are vying for my attention, and I have an hour that's open in that day, I'm going to put a block for capacity on it. And maybe something gets fit into there that like came up. Maybe it's, a walk around the block. Maybe it's a drive around the block listening to some, Nicki Minaj. I don't know. Just to, get me in the right energy. But those random times are fantastic. So when something comes up, you're like, not an emergency. I'm going to fit that into 2 o'clock this Wednesday. And that process is so powerful because we often feel like our schedules control us. We feel like we are at the mercy of the crap that comes up every day. And it makes us feel very helpless. It makes us feel like we're always behind and like we can never truly balance between the two, things that we had planned and like just that comes up, right? And so we never feel accomplished. We never feel like we're ahead. We thought we were going to be ahead and we planned to be ahead with all the things that were on our schedule, and then all this crap came up, and now I'm just here where I was when I started the day, which also makes me feel like I'm already behind for tomorrow, right? Um, so budgeting those times during the week, you're like, I already accounted for this. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew it was going to be something. And I am in control of my calendar and what that looks like. And that's so freeing. That alone takes so much off of our shoulders, that allows us to navigate our week a little bit more confidently and feel a little bit better about what we are accomplishing. So, that is one component that I would encourage you to do there. The second thing, I would pay attention to what those things are that are randomly showing up for you. I have found that it tends to be emails. I'll get an email because I don't know, maybe I'm going to respond to someone that I knew I needed to respond to. Text messages are a big one for me as well. And then there's five more, and I get distracted and I go down a rabbit hole. And then an hour later, I realize the thing I went in there for is it's not, I didn't even do it. I may open up Facebook to post for pure joy and see that someone tagged me in something that I don't want to be tagged in on my personal page. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And then again, I'm distracted, right? So, what I have done for that is I have 3 times a day that I will open. Text messages for me are the biggest one. So, but you could do email, you could do Facebook, you could do whatever it is that you find. Pay attention to where those distractions are coming from, and it's an adjustment. You really have to have some boundaries around it, right? Like this even applies to my husband, and that was a big adjustment for him. That I at the beginning of my day, at lunchtime, and at the end of my work day, I'm going to look at my messages. Otherwise, I'm focused on the task at hand, and the reason why is I have things I need to get done. I also don't want to be working at night. I don't want to be distracted from my family. And that's what's going to happen. If I get distracted during my workday, it's going to pour over into my family time. And I refuse to let that happen. But I have stuff that needs to get done, right? So it was an adjustment for him. It was an adjustment for me. I was used to sharing my wins with him all day long, right? Or checking in or being like, hey, I forgot this for the grocery list because he's going to run by the grocery store on the way home, right? That's hard. But when you can put those boundaries in place and you can figure out a way that works better for you, I'm way more productive because I have streamlined how much attention I'm giving to the things that are the biggest distractors for me. And I am going to be intentional about prioritizing my priorities, which are my family and my time, and getting everything done at work I want to get done, right? All right. So we have one more week of talking about streamlining our processes and about productivity. We have an incredible guest who is going to be joining us next week. Her name is Stephanie, and she is the owner of the Organized Flamingo. I love it so much. Go ahead and follow her on Instagram, follow her on all her social channels, and connect with her on LinkedIn. She's going to be joining me right here next week, and she's going to be answering your questions. So, what do you still have that you want to know about? What is still on your heart and mind? Stephanie is a pro organizer. She's an organizer and a declutterer. And I thought this would be an incredible addition to our conversation, right? We're talking about time organization, we're talking about task organization, we're talking about family and work organization. We need to have the discussion about organizing our physical spaces and our stuff. It impacts us. My office, what you can see of it is very clean. It is minimal. My desk is the same. And when it does get overly cluttered, I have medical bills that need to be paid. I have ink cartridges that need to go into my printer. It stresses me out. It affects my work. It affects my day. And Stephanie is going to come with her incredible tips and strategies. I have loved following her on social. We've been connected for a few months now, and she was so excited to join on and be a part of this discussion with you guys. So excited to have her next week. I will announce that on all my social channels and introduce her there, but please feel free to submit your questions to me. You can comment on the post, you can send me a message. We will answer them anonymously next week. All right, you guys have a powerful end to your week. Don't forget to create your own joy, and I will see you on the flip side.